Hi there, it's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor, and in this video we're going to start a new series called the Rapid Tarot for Fortune Telling. And this is going to be a quick walk through the major arcana cards in a fortune telling sense. So when I put the meanings together for this slideshow, what I intended was to make it a little bit easier for all of our people who are on the psychic hotlines and are looking for some kind of fortune telling meaning for the cards. So let's go ahead and get into it. The Fool represents a new journey, a leap of faith, an unexpected opportunities coming in and taking a risk. So this is a card that's going to show up where new opportunities are coming in, but there is a warning with this card, and the warning is to prepare as much as possible. So if you have a client coming in asking about when am I going to get a new job, well, they're going to have a new job pretty quickly, but it may be a job that they may have to do a little bit extra preparing for. The Magician, manifestation, using our skills to shape destiny, a powerful event coming. So this is always a herald of something important coming along. It's also something that they're going to have to orchestrate, right? So when we get the Magician in a tarot spread, when we're on the psychic hotlines or when we're doing a fortune telling type reading, what it means is that they're going to have to manipulate this event in order to get the results that they're wanting to get. The High Priestess, hidden knowledge, secrets revealed, intuition leading to truth. So this is a card that comes up when there are some things that the queer needs to learn about, needs to know about, but it's something that they're going to have to learn, right? They're going to have to put in some extra work in order to figure out what is that hidden information, what is that secret that they need to figure out. The Empress. Fertility, pregnancy. Pregnancy is probably one of the big ones. I tend to not say pregnancy unless they're asking about pregnancy or family building because it can really be so polarizing if you say pregnancy and then it has nothing to do with the reading, right? So I always say it has a lot to do with personal growth, right? It has a lot to do with abundance, a prosperous time ahead. So this is about preparation, right? And gestation. So whatever that they're asking about is going to take a little bit of time, but it's on the right track and everything's going to work out in a prosperous way. The Emperor, stability, authority figure influencing future business success. So this is always a great card to get, especially when people are asking about like career or they're asking about making a decision, right? So this is a card. If you were to get this card, you would say something along the lines of, it's going to require you to make a very strong decision and to also be disciplined, but it will be successful. The Hierophant represents traditional paths, especially when it comes to learning. It can also represent a marriage or a formal contract. So whenever I see the Hierophant, I'm also always thinking that there's some kind of merger or contract, especially if you're looking at this for like business. If it's relationship, something to do with relationships, then it probably has something to do with making a commitment, right? The Lovers. This could be romantic choices. It's not always love, but it can be a deep form of love. It can be a deep form of emotional empathy. It can also mean an important relationship decision. So the Lovers is all about choices, right? And so it's a choice between vice and virtue. So it's about a choice being presented in front of this person that they have the opportunity to choose which path that they want to take. And hopefully they want to take the path that's going to lead them to the, happiness and a good decision and following their virtues. The Chariot, victory after a struggle, travel, moving forward with determination. So this is a movement card, right? So this is a card that talks about um, uh, movement coming along into the reading, but also things being in a process of unraveling and being in a process of unfolding. And it's kind of like you can't really stop that process. You just kind of have to go with the process. But it also usually comes about, I put here victory after struggle because oftentimes I often see this as like someone's trying really hard to get something done and they've been working on it for a really, really, really long time. And it's been such a struggle. And now it's full speed ahead. Strength. Overcoming challenges, inner resilience, taming a situation or desires. So this is always a tripping up card for a lot of people. Strength just means being able to it's kind of like the magician in a way, being able to manipulate a situation, but in a way that is non-pushy. So I always say with this card, catching more you catch more flies with honey catch more bees with honey. And so it's kind of like one of those cards where you kind of have to hurry up and not do a lot. And so it can be a really struggle card for a lot of people because they want to press this issue, they want to press it moving forward, but they can't. They just kind of have to go along with the speed that it's going along with, and also being kind of nice about it. The Hermit, seeking answers alone, a period of introspection before progress. So this is an isolation card, right? So this is someone that's on their own. They're in isolation, they're in contemplation, they're in thinking, and they're looking for some kind of answer that's going to make everything make sense. And so if you got the Hermit, it really represents just taking a step back. It's kind of like the Hangman in a way, where you're kind of taking a step back and you're waiting for that genius, that idea to kind of strike you. And it also means listening to your own advice when it comes to things going on in your life, not necessarily listening to others. Wheel of Fortune, a major shift in fate, luck changing for the better. So the wheel is always a positive card, of course, unless, it's reversed. But we're talking about just the uprights right now. But it's a card that says there's going to be a whirlwind of change coming, and it's going to be for the better. So I always see this card when there's like a period of stagnation going on in someone's life where they're like waiting for it's like, kind of like waiting for the next shoe to drop, but in a positive way, waiting for things to get better. This card is one of the best heralds, one of the best omens that the situations are going to be improving. Justice. This is all about the legal world. So, a legal decision, karma playing out, truth being revealed. This is where all the lies come out. This is where people start getting held accountable. If you see justice, it's typically speaking about like things that have already happened in the past, and that we're just kind of letting things play out and letting things sort into the way that they're supposed to be. But it usually has to do with things already in the past have already happened, and now people are in situations are just being held accountable. It can also represent some kind of court order or taking legal action, that sort of thing. I often see justice when it comes to like civil suits and stuff like that. The Hangman, this is about delays, needing a new perspective as situations out of your hands. So this is one of those where it's another hurry up and wait card where you can't really do too much about it. It's very similar to the Hermit, but the Hermit is like there by choice, right? The Hermit is taking a time out of introspection on their own, and they've designed that situation for themselves. Whereas the Hangman is kind of like at the mercy of everybody else and just waiting around for everybody else to figure out what they're doing before you figure out what you're doing. But it can represent delays. I often see this with delays and delays that are outside of the hands of the person sitting in front of you. Death, a major ending leading to transformation, clearing the old for the new. So this can literally mean death. I've seen it mean death. I know a lot of tarot readers say that it's not literal death, and a lot of the times I'll say that too. But sometimes it really is, and not just like people passing away or things like that, but situations coming to an end. There's a sense of completion to them. It's similar to the World card. In the World card, everybody's happy with the ending, but in the Death card, and not everybody's happy. I mean, look, everybody, there's people getting trampled here on the on the floor over here. So it's an ending, whether you like it or not, but it's going to be a super major transformation. And it's one of those. The Death card is one of those ones where you just wake up one day and those things that used to bother you, those situations that bother you, they just don't bother you anymore. It's like you've moved on. Temperance. Balance, patience, a healing process, slow but steady progress. So this is another one of those cards where it's going to take some time for things to work out, and it's going to take us an active stance in balancing, the situation that's going on. So if you have a love interest that's coming into you in your chat room, or you're calling you on the psychic hotlines, right? And they're saying, I've been waiting for this guy to ask me out. Well, this is going to say that it's going to take time, and that they're working this person's working things out in their own life. It's not going to happen right away, but there are a lot of things that have to like kind of fall into place before our querent can get the result that they want. But it does show some progress, but albeit slow. The devil, temptations, addiction, karmic entanglement, deceit ahead. So this is one of those cards where you're like, oh, you're a liar, right? So this is one of those cards where people are not being honest. There are some hidden behaviors that are going on. It can also represent the whole vice. You think back to the Lover's card, and you think back to that choice, right? Well, this is where they've made that choice to go to their vices and listen to their inner demons and inner devils. But it can also be a really great card for people who need to explore indulgence, for people who need to explore not making everybody else happy, not following everybody else, and just following their own selfish desires, right? So just kind of depends on the cards around it. But typically, the devil is a big warning flag that maybe we're not working in the best interests of everybody involved. The Tower. So the Tower is a sudden change. It's a shocking revelation, destruction before renewal. So this is a card that comes out where it's like your life gets bulldozed, right? Things come out of left field, things you didn't expect. These are like when your parents pass away, or when you lose your job, or these big defining dark night of the soul kind of moments that lead you towards your higher calling, that lead you towards your path, your purpose, but don't feel very good in the moment. And so this is a card that is of total destruction, right? But it's a card that's kind of like the silver lining is that, well, now you get to rebuild, and not by choice, but that's the silver lining at least. The Star, a wish coming true, blessings from the universe, hope. This is a great card to get. It's a card of healing. It's a card that things are working out, like where people were struggling before. Things are in a really, really good place. It feels good. I mean, it feels good to the nervous system, that sort of thing. This can also be your professional network. It could be your circle of friends, the people that are around you that keep you inspired and keep you motivated. The Moon, secrets, deception, confusion, and unclear features. So the thing about the Moon, which makes it different from all of the other, like per se, like the Devil or some of these other cards, that's like deception, right? Is that the Moon is that the information is obscured, right? The information that you're looking at is not necessarily the whole truth. So when I see the Moon, there's like, is this person lying? Well, yes, but also no. They might just be exaggerating the truth a little bit and trying to make themselves look a little bit better. So I always see the Moon as there are secrets, but the way that we're looking at it is not entirely accurate. That doesn't necessarily mean it's negative or positive. It just means that if we are like the querent, right? If we're looking at a situation, we may be looking at a situation from a place of fear and insecurity, but it may not even be that. And that's just like how we're feeling towards it. The Sun, joy, success, happiness, a bright future, pretty self-explanatory. This is probably the best card that you can get outside of the Wheel of Fortune. This could also be about career. This could be about happiness. This could be about someone's mental state. It could also be about inner child healing, all that kind of stuff. Judgment, a major life decision, a past situation coming back for resolution. So this is a calling. This is something where someone's being called to do something and they have to follow that call, right? It could be like, I always see this with like a midlife crisis where someone's like, oh, I hate my job. I want to quit my job. I want to start this new career. And they're 40 and they start going back to college. Or they've been married for 20 years and they realize that they're just really not actually in love with the person that they're with. And they want to go out into the world and find their idea of true love. So it's always one of those, it's like a compulsion. It's almost like a call that people have, and it generally leads them to a completely different place than what they're in right now. And the world, completion, travel, a major life cycle successfully closing. So this is always such a great card to get when you're asking about things as far as like planning in the future, because it all says everything's going to be good. Travel is a really big one, but also like a phase of someone's life is coming to a point of completion and they're ready to move on to that next phase of life. So thank you so much for being with me today. I hope this helped you. We'll continue on in the minor arcana, and let me know if you have any requests for any types of content, or if you have any requests for how to read tarot cards in any certain context. Thank you so much.